Hey Twisters, so what a crazy day for trades. I mean, here we are, we got the Stanley Cup final still happening, the Oilers dragging the Cats back to Edmonton for game 6, and then we get a few big trades going down today. We've got Pierre-Luc Dubois once again on the move, this time to the Washington Capitals with Darcy Kuemper going the other way. We've got the Devils acquiring a #1 goaltender. We've got my San Jose Sharks doing a couple things as well. So we'll recap all of that. I'll give you my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts about these trades in the comments down below. And also, what else do you expect this offseason? We'll be covering the offseason as it pertains to free agency. We also have a live stream planned for next Friday for the draft, all of round 1. And being a Sharks fan, this will be your place for all things draft reaction. All right, so the first trade, Washington Capitals get Pierre-Luc Dubois in a 1-for-1 for Darcy Kuemper. So the Kings get a proven #1 goaltender, albeit one guy who has fallen off over the last couple of seasons, but he does have a Stanley Cup to his name. He's had a great career so far. Let's actually recap what he did over this past season. He only played in 33 games, an .890 save percentage, a 3.31 goals against average, and it really wasn't as big of a factor as he wanted to be for the Capitals, as they did get back into the playoffs, but a lot of that has to be attributed to Charlie Lindgren. He has 3 more years on his contract at $5.25 million, so that is quite a bit for a 34-year-old goaltender who has been sliding recently. However, with Dubois, of course, with all of the term that he has on his contract, both teams looking to give up something to get something the other way and maybe salvage what value that player could bring them. The Kings still have about $23 million left in cap space, but they do have some RFAs to sign. Of course, Quentin Byfield being at the front of that. You've got Alex Turcotte. You also have Jordan Spence on defense as well. So they do have a few holes to fill there, but by clearing the $8.5 million annual cap hit to Pierre-Luc Dubois, I think Rob Blake has put things in good position for his team in the offseason. So I would assume that Kuemper would be probably the #1 goaltender, although there could be that competition in the offseason. Kuemper, with that track record, if he looks like what he did maybe 2 seasons ago with the Avalanche winning the Stanley Cup, he could potentially be the #1 guy going forward and maybe have a role in getting the Kings perhaps past the first round. They've been in the playoffs all of the last 3 years. On the other side of things with Dubois, his role really did diminish this season with the Kings. He played in all 82 games, but he had just 16 goals and 24 assists, so just about a point every other game, only 15 minutes and 42 seconds of time on ice. He has scored upwards of 60 points at least in 3 seasons. He has 7 more years on his deal at $8.5 million, and we're about to see a full no-move clause kick in until 2028. That will become a modified no-trade clause at some point, but really the Capitals here, they're going to have to be strapped with him for probably the next 4 seasons, although they did need a lot of offense going into this upcoming season. We saw that they had a negative goal differential despite getting into the playoffs, but really the Rangers shut them down entirely. You have some aging veterans on that team, some guys in their 30s, even somebody like Nicklas Backstrom isn't necessarily expected to return to the team, so they were desperate for some offense. I know the Caps have a couple of upcoming prospects in their forward group, but really still, it's an opportunity for Dubois to be a top 6 center in the NHL. Dylan Strome would probably be the #1 at least going into training camp, and we'll see what happens from there. The Capitals have about $1.1 million in cap space per Puckpedia, at least while I'm making this video. They have Connor McMichael as a restricted free agent, but not too many other notable players to consider signing. You also have Max Pacioretty as an unrestricted free agent. I don't necessarily expect him to be back. The other question to ask here with the Capitals is who's going to be their #2 goaltender. I would expect Lindgren to be the #1 heading into camp, and then their backup, at least on Puckpedia, it's Clay Stevenson, but he has yet to register an NHL game. Then we had a big trade between the New Jersey Devils and the Calgary Flames. Thanks to everybody who joined our live stream. So going to the New Jersey Devils is goaltender Jacob Markstrom. Just 2 seasons ago was the runner-up for the Vezina Trophy, and now at 34 years old, he is in the back 9 of his career, but he's still been playing at a pretty strong level, and really Markstrom would be an upgrade over just about anybody who's been playing goal in New Jersey. This past season, he played in 48 games. He had a .905 save percentage, 2.78 goals against average, and 2 shutouts. He had a positive goal save above expected, just a little bit above 0. And as for his contract, the Flames are consuming 30% of his salary, so he only comes at a $4.1 million cap hit for the next 2 years for New Jersey. So I think that that was a really good deal for Tom Fitzgerald to make. However, he carries a full no-move clause. Now, the Devils still have about $16 million left in cap space. That's pretty good. Their biggest RFA to extend is Dawson Mercer, but otherwise I think that they're in a pretty good cap situation for right now. And considering that the Metropolitan Division isn't really getting any stronger, at least I don't think. Philadelphia is on the rise, sure, but you have some teams kind of flatlining with the Capitals, Penguins, the Islanders. Hurricanes could definitely regress in the offseason. The Rangers, yeah, they won the President's Trophy, but they only got so far in the postseason. Columbus hasn't even figured out their coach. There are a lot of big questions in that division right now, so the Devils had some opportunity to upgrade their roster. And yeah, they lose a 2025 first-round draft pick, but that's kind of the cost of business, and that's only 2 years at $4.1 million for a starting caliber goaltender. That's not bad whatsoever. Yes, they dealt away Kevin Ball, but looking at their defense core, you have, of course, the young Luke Hughes to look forward to, and Simone Nemec. I know Seamus Casey is still in the prospect pool. You got Dougie Hamilton coming back from injury, John Marino, great underrated defenseman, and Jonas Siegenthaler for that matter too. As for the Flames, they do get Kevin Ball. He's just about to turn 24 years old, and really they have lost a lot of defensemen through trades over the past season. Nikita Zadorov, Noah Hanifin being traded away as well. But I do have to give some kudos to Craig Conroy because he really did inherit quite a mess from Brad Treliving. I mean, you look at the forward core right now, you've got Kadri under contract for several more years. Same thing with Huberdeau. Who else is part of that core right now who's performing at a fairly high level? Not too many players. So really they needed to clear some cap space and especially get assets in return. The Flames have 2 first-round picks in each of the next 3 drafts. And even though they lost Markstrom, they still have Dan Vladar for a year, and they have Dustin Wolf, a highly rated goaltending prospect who did play for them at parts of this past season. He's actually from Sharks territory, so I am cheering for him quite a bit. And speaking of which, you see the Barclay Goodrow signed jersey behind me here. He's back in the Bay Area. I know some people aren't necessarily thrilled about this. I can understand why, but the Sharks do need a couple of veterans to be around while some of their youth is developing. We're talking about Will Smith, Thomas Bordeleau, William Eklund, and we'll see what happens with Macklin Celebrini if he wants to sign with the Sharks instead of go back to college for what would be his sophomore year. But Goodrow, he has that veteran leadership in him. We see how he fit in with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I know his numbers weren't glamorous by any means with the Rangers, although he did score 6 goals in the playoffs, but he comes at a $3.6 million cap hit for 3 years. He does have a 15-team no-trade list. I don't think that that's all that bad for a team like the Sharks, who are currently in the middle of a rebuild, who do need to spend to the cap floor, and they have lots of just pending RFAs and UFAs going into this season, so you have to bring in a veteran. I know that the Blackhawks had done that for, Connor Bedard, bringing in Nick Foligno. They had Taylor Hall in there as well. So while I don't think this move is franchise altering in any way, Goody brings some of those intangibles. He brings that tenacity, that grit, that ability to drop the gloves, all that good stuff. So I'll welcome him back. And also we can welcome in Ty Dellandrea. He's about to turn 24 years old. He played in all 82 games the previous season with the Dallas Stars, 9 goals and 19 assists, 14 minutes of time on ice. I did like what I saw from the eye test from who was the 13th overall pick in 2018. He's currently a restricted free agent. He does have something to prove out there. Why not go to the San Jose Sharks? It'll be the Sharks' opportunity to test him out, get him on a 3rd line potentially, and if he's able to pot a few goals, who knows, maybe he'll have some trade value whether this season or next season. So I don't mind that. Dallas in exchange gets a 4th round pick for next season. Dallas has just really done a good job of shaping the new core as some of their veterans age out. So anyway, guys, what do you think about all those moves? Let me know in the comments down below, and stick around for more coverage of the 2024 offseason. And also, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, I am looking for people who are interested in supporting the growth of Twisted Wrister Hockey as a potential investor. So it's an opportunity for you to earn back a little bit of what this channel makes. Just anybody out there who's an adult is capable of being an investor. You don't have to be strapped with tens of thousands of dollars in cash. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about that, just see the pinned comment down below. That'll direct you to a page where you can indicate your interest in becoming a potential investor. No commitments at this point just yet, but we would get a fundraiser going in the off season. Also, if you haven't checked it out yet, watch our in-depth feature on who you guys determined was the dirtiest player of the salary cap era, and that is Matt Cook. I'll put a link to that in the pinned comment down below as well. Thanks so much for tuning in, Twisters. Do leave a thumbs up before you go, and I'll see you around for more coverage of the offseason. Thanks so much. I'll catch you Twisters later. Ciao for now.